Did you know that by the end of this 30-minute program, 21 people would have died out of suicide worldwide? According to WHO, one person dies every 40 seconds of suicide worldwide, majority of them between the ages of 15 to 35. In Kenya alone, 4 people commit suicide every day, a number that is higher than what the Kenya Bureau of Statistics reported in 2018. What is undeniable, however, is the link between suicide and mental health, particularly depression. In 2018, WHO ranked Kenya as the 6th country in Africa with at least 1.9 million diagnosed Kenyans suffering from depression. Good evening and welcome to Health Watch. I'm your host Karen Cheriot, and today we have Hilda Ayabe in studio. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Karen.
Now, today we are going to be taking the stigma out of mental health. Before we talk about depression and suicide and the numbers, there are 2 types of depression. There is what we call biochemical and situational. Kindly give us a brief differentiation of the 2.
So when it comes to depression, actually, there are a number of types. But when, like you've said, biochemical depression and situational depression are part of what we call depression.
Yeah.
So when it comes to situational depression, it is caused by a specific event. This could either be grief, could either be trauma, but it's something specific that leads to what we call the situational. However, when it comes to the biochemical now, it's usually caused by something we call the serotonin receptors. Yes, the body produces this, however, it is inefficient. So it tends to lead to what we call the biochemical depression.
In 2018, WHO said that roughly 1.9 people had depression. How are the numbers right now with COVID-19? Do you have like a rough estimate?
Well, a rough estimate, I'd say the number has really gone up actually. We can't really estimate exactly, but I'd say we've gone up by around 20% because of the current situation that the country is facing and worldwide as it is right now. So yeah, it has really gone up as compared to that time. Yeah.
And in 2014, Kenya got a policy on mental health. Did that help? Has that helped, especially during this period?
It's still in the works, but yes, we can see there's a difference where now we see there's an effect when it comes to mental health as a result of the policy. So yes, to some extent, yes, it has helped.
But it's still not being talked about as much.
Not as much as we'd like it to be talked about. Yeah.
Okay. When we say depression, what are the telltale signs? How can I tell that my loved one has depression?
All right. So when it comes to depression, what we usually say is that everyone has experienced a level of it, where you've experienced some deep emotion or grief, and it tends to last for a few days or weeks. However, when now it comes to depression, we say when you have profound and prolonged emotional disability, for lack of a better word.
And when you say prolonged, what's the period?
Usually for depression, it depends with the type of depression, but for you to be diagnosed and for someone to say that you have depression, then it takes, the diagnosis is 2 weeks. You have experienced some of these symptoms for a period of 2 weeks, accompanied with other symptoms, yes. But now this needs to be done by a professional, not just any other person.
Okay.
Yes.
So I cannot tell that my loved one or my child or my spouse has depression?
Not easily, but you can tell from the telltale signs. For example, withdrawal from friends. Then it becomes a sign, why have you withdrawn from your friends? Hopelessness, isolation as well. Then we have where people begin to talk about suicidal ideation or thoughts. Then you can tell something is not right because it is not a normal thing. Yeah. So these are the most common and what we say, the signs that you need to look out for. Yes.
But by the time someone is talking about suicide or having suicidal thoughts, that means it has escalated.
Yes.
And often when someone is going through depression, we tell them, you'll get over it, snap out of it. What are some of these things that, we may just say it without really realizing that it's not the appropriate thing that we should be saying? And how can we encourage these people?
I'm actually happy you've brought that up, because we tend to tell people who are going through depression without knowing the intensity of it,
Yeah.
just snap out of it, or it's kawaida, you'll just get over it. However, we need to appreciate and acknowledge the fact that depression is actually an illness. It might not be like any other illness, because this one is now with the emotions, something that you cannot see. So telling someone to snap out of it is like you've dismissed them. It's like it's not such an issue. Yeah, but it really affects, because you're telling me to snap out of it. I don't know how to snap out of it. I don't even know what is going on. So these are some of the things we say, or when I tell you, just go see a pastor or pray about it.
And we tend to say that a lot.
Yes, we tend to say this very many times, pray about it. But what we forget is that this person has actually done all this to get to that point where they now don't know how to get out of it. So they need that help. So telling someone, snap out of it, pray about it, it's just a feeling, it will pass, it's just a stage in life. It tends to even drive them deeper into the depression. Yeah.
And we need to help them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And most of these things that we tell them, it's out of the misconceptions we have as a society. What are some of the other misconceptions that are there on mental health?
Misconceptions, quite a number. I'll just mention what is commonly said out there, that mental health is for lack of a better word, allow me to say this in Swahili, wazimu. Someone
and they say that they link it to madhare.
Yes, yes. So people tend to think it's like you've gone mad, or you're pretending, or you're just seeking attention. However, mental health is not about seeking attention. It's about seeking help. I am in this state, I am doing some of these things because I need that help, but I don't know how to cope with it. So we need to deal with some of these misconceptions. It's not about being mad. We all go through some level of mental health challenges, and it is okay to talk about it. It is not something to be ashamed of. It is actually something we need to talk about it if we want to get to that place of healing as a society. So yeah, mental health, going through these challenges, it's not about you being mad. It's not about you being weak either. Yeah.
Well, the organization where you've worked, I'm sure you've done many awareness programs, and you've met misconceptions from the society.
Yes.
How do you advise this society? How do you change this perspective that the society has towards people that have mental illnesses, and downright to the family as well? Because, I mean, most of the time when you visit a home, parents will tell their 15, their 10-year-old child, you're too young to be stressed, you're too young to be having depression. And yet they all go through, they're human, they go through that as well.
True. It's been a challenge, to be honest, because first of all, mental health, we've recently started talking about it. It's not something we've been talking about years past. So it becomes very hard trying to help someone understand that mental health, it's actually a challenge, it's a sickness, it's a problem. So to be able to get past that, what we call stigma, we've been trying to create some awareness where we talk about mental health as it is, by explaining some of the signs, some of the symptoms, some of the situations that can actually lead to mental health challenges. And then we bring this back home. Now, looking at now the audience we're having, asking them to give testimonies. After now we've presented, what are some of the things that you've been going through? What did you think it was? And now when we tell you it's mental health, are you in a better position to understand and appreciate mental health? So it's a process, a slow process, but I'd say there's progress, because now people have begun understanding what mental health really is. Yeah.
You've mentioned something to do with situations that bring about some of these mental illnesses. What are the situations that lead to depression?
Situations that lead to depression. Let's talk about family. Just like you said, parents talking to their children, you're too young to be stressed. We don't understand where this child is coming from. This child is experiencing some issues that they don't know how to handle, but we've dismissed them. This initially, it starts as something innocent, But as it continues, you find that this child has actually gotten into depression. We talk about workplaces. We have toxic workplaces where work is not, it's not arranged in a way that is conducive for someone to handle.
Mental peace.
Yeah, you're overwhelmed. Again, the environment is not as peaceful as you'd like it to be. So this also leads to depression. We have, what are some of the other? I'm really trying to think to think about them, but these are just a few of them.
Okay.
We have school, and especially at this time, where students are really being overwhelmed. You're drilled, you're forced to understand this thing in such a short period of time. So you find that these kids cannot handle.
They're expected to perform.
Yeah, and they're expected to perform. If they do not perform, the teachers call them names. Yeah, parents call them names. At the end of the day, what do we expect this child to gain out of all this? Depression.
Thank you so much. We're going for a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about how to treat depression and what is the difference between suicide and depression.